We are going to be making a layered card for Thanksgiving, and you can follow the same steps with another multi-layered design, and I will show you how to slice out each layer so that you can do this really cool stacked, it's almost like shadow box looking. I'm going to be using my Cricut Maker, but the Cricut Explorer or the Joy Extra will be able to do this project. Also, I'm going to use the scoring stylus to crease the fold line in our card base. And then I also have this decoration here I cut out of vinyl. So if you're gonna follow along with me and make this card, you're gonna want black vinyl, and then for cardstock, white, and then whatever 4 colors you want for your layer design. I have a really dark navy blue, a kind of yellow mustard, pink, and blue. I'm also using Barely Arts precision glue to glue some of the layers together, and then some foam dots to separate some of the other layers. Then you'll see I also use some transfer tape and a weeding hook to work with this vinyl layer. All right, so we're gonna start in Design Space. This is the result of what we're going to be designing today. It's a layered card, but it's kind of like a reverse or inverse layered card. So instead of just doing it the simple way where you start with the black and then layer on blue and green pieces, we're going to make each of these a cutout that reveals the color below it. The card base will be white, so that will show through all of the layer cutouts. And then the black decorations we're going to add with black vinyl. So here is the turkey image that I'm using in this design. So we're going to be working on slicing out these different layers from squares that are going to make up our layered card. And then before we actually start slicing these layers, we need to make a little bit of adjustments to them. So I'm going to take this layer, and you can see they're all individual pieces. So after I click on the layer, I'm going to click Combine and then Weld. And then that way it's all considered one path. And so we can go into the contour tool, and we need to just delete anything that's an inside cut. So the details inside the flowers or inside the leaves like this. And I'm just going to hide each layer after I do it so that I know that it's done. And then we need to turn this turkey layer into 2 separate layers. One where we have just the turkey outline, and one where we have just the decorative cuts from the inside. So click on the turkey layer and do copy paste or duplicate, and click on one of them and just click on that top outline. And so now all we have left are those inside decorations. And this we're going to cut out of black vinyl. So I'm going to make it black now. Then on the other one, just scroll down so you can see the bottom of the whole contour window. Click Hide All Contours, and that leaves just the turkey outline itself. We're going to end up with a card that is 5 by 5 inches square. So I've just added 1 square that's that size. So now I can drag the whole turkey design and size it so that it fits inside my 5 by 5 square. So this part is already ready to go. Like I said, we're going to cut it from black vinyl, so we don't need to slice it out of any of our cardstock layers. So I'm just going to drag that off to the side. So bring the 5x5 square over and under the design. Then with that square selected, hit Control and click the turkey layer. And then when those are both selected, click Slice. Then you can get rid of the two turkey outlines. Now take the square with the turkey sliced out and duplicate that layer. Then you're going to bring that over and center it over the other square. Okay, then I changed that to a blue color. With this blue layer selected, hold Control and then click this layer here that it's blue in our original design. Then with those two selected, you can hit Slice. Now take that bottom layer, the first one that we did the slice, and it just has the turkey cut out. Change that one to blue, because that's what's going to show through what we just cut out. Then take our new slice layer and change it to green, and go ahead and duplicate it, and make sure you go back and delete those flower slices that we just took out. Okay, now take the other leaf layer in the original design. You're going to bring it to the front so that we can slice it out of the next square layer. So line up all three squares again. Select the top layer and select the other leaf layer in the design and hit Slice. Change the top layer to orange and delete all the extra sliced pieces. Duplicate the top layer and center all of the squares again. Now with the dots on the very top, select the top orange layer and click Slice. Delete out the cut circles and change the very top layer to black. Now we're going to create the card base. Add in another square shape and unlock the proportions lock and change the dimensions to 10 inches by 5 inches. Then come to shapes again and add this single line. Change the large rectangle to a white color. Then you're going to select the rectangle and the score line and hit center. Then select them both again and hit attach. Now the score line will go exactly where we put it. Now's a good time to save before we move on to the make it step. Click Make It, and we can see all of our separate layers that we created in Design Space. We have our card base here, and we can see that the score line is in the right position. These details we're going to cut from black vinyl, and then these are the different card layers. Here's our top layer, then the next layer, the third layer, and the fourth layer. And you can see that each layer as they go down has fewer and fewer cutouts. That's because it's going to be the solid piece that shows up through the cutouts above it. Click Continue and then connect your machine. And for my first material, I set it to heavy cardstock. It's a pretty thick white paper. Then I need to click Edit Tools so I can change to the scoring stylus because it's going to default to one of the scoring wheels. So once that's done, I'm going to take my paper and press it down onto a green mat. If your mat's a little bit older, it's really helpful to have a brayer to make sure it's stuck down really good. Then install the stylus into the A-clamp. Load in the mat. Press the arrow button so that it can bring the mat in. It will check to make sure it has the right blade installed. It will check the length of the mat. Then you'll need to press the flashing go button, and then it will do the score line. Then it will go through, and since I selected heavy cardstock, it's going to cut out twice. The other cardstock that I'm using is a little bit thinner. I just use the medium cardstock setting. It just cuts once and it works perfectly. When that's finished, press the arrows again and it will unload the mat. The next layer is the vinyl. So I'm changing the material to premium vinyl and then setting a piece of vinyl again on my green mat. I'm using the brayer to make sure it's stuck down really good, and it's going to cut out all those cute little details that are going to go on the inside of the turkey. The next layers are all the same type of cardstock, so I'm going to check this box that says remember material settings, and that way it will just come back and put in these settings for every mat and I won't have to select it again. So now you can watch it go through as it cuts the blue, the yellow, the pink, and the lighter blue. As you take each of these mats out, peel the mat away from the cardstock so that it doesn't curl. And then here I am just weeding away the extra vinyl. These little pieces kind of wanted to pull up, so I just kind of rolled the vinyl back carefully, and then if anything was trying to stick, then I just pulled it back down with my weeding hook. And when that was all removed, that big outside piece, there were a couple of inside pieces that I needed to take out, also using the weeding hook. So those are all of our pretty layers, and I'm just going to go ahead and fold the card base along the score line. So I'm just using this precision tip glue to glue down this first layer. This is the light blue. It has only the turkey outline cut out. So put some glue along the edges and then along the outline of the turkey. You only need small amounts of glue and you don't want it to squeeze out from underneath. So you'll line that up with the corners of the card base and press that down to make it stick. Next, we're going to add this vinyl layer. It's going to be easiest to do at this point because we have our turkey outline. As we build up the other layers with some foam tabs, it'll just be harder to get this down in there. So now's the perfect time to add our vinyl decoration. I've put it on a piece of transfer tape and I'm just going to kind of line it up by eyeballing it. You could also go back to Design Space and look to see exactly where that's located. So I'm just rubbing my finger lightly across that vinyl to get it to stick down. There were a couple little bits that wanted to come up with the transfer tape, so I just rubbed over them with my fingernail again, and that made them stick down. I really like using vinyl like this when there's really detailed cuts. This would be nearly impossible to do with paper or cardstock. Okay, with the vinyl on, now we can start building up the rest of our paper layers. So this is where I use some of these pre-cut little foam squares. They're adhesive on both sides. And so I put one in each corner, and then you can see I cut some to fill in some of the other spaces. And as I'm doing this, see if you can guess what's going to go wrong here for me in a second. I use my weeding hook to pull up the other little paper to reveal the top sticky side. And then as I put this pink layer down, I realized that a couple of those foam pieces are sitting right underneath where some of those cutouts are. And so we're going to be able to see those sticky foam tabs. And I don't want that. I want to just see the blue. So I'm going to remove these two pieces from underneath. And I kind of learned my lesson. So you want to apply your glue or your foam tabs to the back side of the new layer, not the layer that you're looking at. That way you won't get anything overlapping on your open cutouts. Now I can line this up with the edges of the blue layer and press down gently on all of those sticky foam pieces to get them to adhere. Okay, so that's better, and you can't see any of that sticky foam under there anymore. All right, so I kind of made an executive decision here on these top two layers. Since the little orange dots are so small, I decided to just glue these two layers together with glue and not put any foam in between them. I was afraid that with those dots being so small, the orange color behind might just kind of get lost in the shadow. So I'm gluing these two together. Again, now I remembered I need to glue the back side of the top piece so that I don't overlap any of the cutouts. Then glue those two pieces together, and if you kind of tap it on the table on the edges, then that can help it line up exactly. So now we just have those teeny little yellow or orange dots showing through, and they're not going to get lost. Okay, so that's looking really good, and I do want to put some foam squares on the back side here to raise this up a little bit again. Right, and then like you saw in the beginning of the video, this is how it looks when it's all finished. This will fit in an envelope sized for a 5x7 card, but you will most likely have to pay some extra postage, probably take it into the post office to send it off to make sure that it doesn't get damaged en route if you're going to send it in the mail. This project that we did with this turkey card used a file right from Design Space, but I've also designed my own separate SVG for a Christmas card that you wouldn't have to do any of the slicing. I already sliced and designed all of the layers with all their cutout pieces. So make sure you grab that. So thanks again for watching, and I will see you around the internet. Bye.